All right, curbing food cravings and sugar addiction. This is something this time of year, it is especially hard to do, Tyler. And I'm like, I'm right in there with everybody else. I love the sweets. So if there's a cookie, like shortbread, you know, any sort of cakes, the gingerbread, all that kind of stuff, it's like impossible to say no. So help us. We're going to get to the sugar stuff in a minute, but just overall that we're not going to overindulge. And we keep talking about this with other experts as well, because it's the one thing that we tend to do.
Yeah, it's good to have like a two-part discussion. One being just appetite in general and curbing your appetite, especially this time of year. You know, you've got lots of delicious food that's always tempting you. So there's ways that you can prevent overeating, because you'll notice, like, you know, it happens to me, it happens to all of us, where we'll have these periods where, you know, we're eating, still hungry, eating, still hungry, eating, still hungry. You just eat and eat, and all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm like super full. So there's this definite issue with how our bodies react to how we eat and how our brain signals the signal that we're full. So there's a few things you can do to always make sure your brain is content, and your brain is always satisfied and helping you feel full. The one thing, and this could be applied all year, not just holiday time, but making sure that you take all the food you normally eat in a day. And so it's a little bit tricky because you have to still understand calories and like quantities and portions, but divide it into fewer meals. So instead of having like 3, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinners, do like what hobbits do basically, and have like, you know, even if you take your breakfast and just split it up, right? Like, rather than making 6 separate meals, just like take your lunch, eat half of it now, half of it mid-afternoon, have dinner, half your dinner now, half of your dinner later in the afternoon. It's a bit of a lifestyle change, which makes it a little bit tricky, but the difference is your body will always be, it'll always be full, your blood sugar will be stable, and your brain will always be aware that food is present.
Yeah, and I think that's a tough one for people. I mean, we've got some of the Curbing Your Cravings up right now for people to read, and so look at those. We'll talk about them, but it is those smaller meals. I think we get so busy, most people skip breakfast and have a coffee or a tea, and that's it. And then, you know, if they're lucky, they get an okay lunch. And then by the time they get home, they're famished.
Exactly.
And then you eat whatever is in front of you, right? And you're eating stuff that isn't that great for you. And then the other thing that you talk about too is the protein.
Yes.
I think most of us probably lack in that department. We're not getting protein or enough of it, and that's what will really help keep you satisfied throughout the day. Yeah,
of the three main macronutrients, so you've got carbohydrates, you have proteins, and you have fats. Of those 3, you get a bit of those 3 every time you eat food. Protein specifically releases certain chemicals like cholecystokinin, which signals to your brain more so than the other 2, more so than fat, and more so than carbs.
I won't ask you how to spell
that. Your CCK, you can use that for
there we go, CCK, it's so much easier.
So anytime, and when I say add a protein to meals, I don't mean just have your normal meal and then add a protein to it, because then you have a calorie issue, you've just added more food. So what I mean is replace as a percentage, you know, eat less of this and instead eat more protein in its place. And what will happen is, you know, you'll still be eating the same volume, the same mass of food, but the chemical signals to your brain will keep you fuller, faster, and much longer.
Yeah, and there's great ways to do that. I mean, you brought in some samples here of your meat, your cheese, and your nuts. Yeah,
so exactly when it comes to like hors d'oeuvre time, you know, you have all these options at Christmas and over the holidays. You know, the meat platter, the cheese platter. You know, there's always walnuts and pecans and almonds and that type of thing hanging around. Still bearing in mind that you can't just go to town on these types of things, but you'll be satisfied much longer. Whereas if you just concentrate on the sweet stuff, what will happen is you'll get that elated feeling of, you know, the carbohydrate happy, you know, the happy effect basically. But what will happen is you'll be very hungry quickly after. So the proteins, the fats, and the fiber is the other big thing. So the veggie trays and the fruit platters. Fruit is like nature's candy, basically, so it has that the sweet taste, which satisfies that craving, but the fiber basically means it'll last a lot longer in your system. The other key thing is, you know, when I tell people eat 6 small meals, people will say, well, if I have a breakfast that's only half the size of my normal breakfast, I'm going to be like hungry at the end of it, and you probably will be hungry at the end of it. But the important thing to remember is that brain chemistry that happens when you eat food, there's about a 20-minute period where, you know, one chemical is released and picked up by the brain goes, aha, you have eaten.
Exactly.
There's this delay period. So that's why we can eat and eat and eat at a buffet and be like, oh, I'm still hungry, I'm still hungry, I'm still hungry, and then all of a sudden we're like over full.
Yeah, so take your time,
Take your time, chew slowly.
And wait to see afterwards, because you will actually feel full, and then you can go a little longer.
Yeah, chew slowly and draw your meal out. And the other thing is when you chew slowly, you also get to savor the flavor. Flavor happens up here, so when people say, oh, this is delicious, it doesn't make it any better if you eat it faster. What you want to do is let it sit and percolate.
Yeah, enjoy
in your
it,
taste buds.
right? Like
Enjoy
don't
it.
just inhale it because then
Yeah.
it's gone and done with. So actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that we can do when it does come to sugar? You touched a little bit upon that because I think this is a big problem for a lot of people, right? Is that they get those highs from the sugar and then they just want more and more of
Yes.
it. It's not doing us any good. I mean, it's been linked to cancer. It's been linked to heart disease. It's been
Yeah.
linked to so many issues, and we have way too much of it in society.
Yes, our brains have this wonderful reward system. It's, this byproduct. It's an evolutionary thing, right? Like we have thirst, we have hunger, and it's our body's way of telling us to go eat. The one thing our body really likes is sugar. Our brain in particular loves sugar, and it pays us with a nice reward of serotonin, which is your happy hormone, which is why we get this constant feeling of happy when we eat serotonin, and then sadness when we don't eat enough
When
sugar.
the donuts are all gone.
The donuts are gone.
I'm sad.
The sugar is gone. So what you can do is a lot of mood support products in particular have actually been found to be exceptionally good for weight loss, almost as like a side effect or side benefit, if you will. So things like 5-HTP, which is 5-HTP is basically 5-hydroxytryptophan. So tryptophan we hear of like all the time. When we eat turkey, we get some tryptophan.
Yes.
5-HTP is basically one step further, and serotonin is one step further again. So when you take 5-HTP, you increase your body's production of serotonin. So what happens is you're always in the state of maximum serotonin production. So when you eat sugar, there's nowhere left to go. There's no like extra spike that has extra overhead. So you're always at your max. It's almost like you're eating sugar all the time when you're taking this. You're getting the same feeling as though you were eating sugar all the time without actually eating sugar. So sugar has a little reward effect on your body, so your body tends to not crave it. The other one that works for some people is blood sugar control products. It's not for everyone because some people are fine in these regards. But things like chromium and some of the blood sugar support formulas, they contain things that keep your blood sugar even. Some of them, like this one, actually contain something called Gymnema sylvestre, which is dulls the taste of sweets. So it actually takes the fun and enjoyment out of sweets.
All right, I need this and this, and I'll be good to go. We've talked about PGX before, and and unfortunately we're out of time, but this is something that can also help you. You can research, find out about it, or just head up to see you guys. I mean, you're a wealth of information. You've got all the support products up there, and we'll help people really find what will help them too, because you don't want to get on the wrong track either.
Yes.
So Full Circle Healthcare, great place to visit through the holidays if you're looking to change your lifestyle and be healthier in the new year. FullCircleHealthcare.ca, and you can also follow them on Twitter.